I chose this one because it will make Felix mad, but also because I think it is a perfect pairing with what we discussed at the end of Thursday's episode, which is the ongoing trad wife neo-Nazi flame war that is embroiling racist white woman Twitter. Matt, if you're unfamiliar with this, the tradwives have gone feral, and they're accusing each other of miscegenation, having AIDS, and just generally being broke-ass hoes who give it away for free and getting fingered in a Marriott hotel lobby during TPUSA convention. So just with that little preface, I'd like to read this by Pamela Paul, featured in the Wall Street Journal. The conservative women who are having it all. Yeah, they're getting finger blasted in hotel lobbies.
By Dominicans and whites.
God, I remember back in my former career, I managed to alienate Pamela Paul, who was then head of the New York Times Book Review, by referring to her as a neoconservative on Twitter. So that's when I knew I was probably not long for that career path, because I had already managed to, as an editor at a New York City publishing house, alienate the head of the New York Times Book Review by accurately describing her politics. And keep that in mind about Pamela Paul, is that also she used to be married to Bret Stephens. She's the former Ms. Bret Stephens. But she is she claims that she is in no way a neoconservative and can't be tarred with that brush by an obnoxious editorial assistant. So this is from the Wall Street Journal, Pamela Paul, the conservative women who are having it all. According to the gospel of TikTok, conservative women are a mix of
abort.
According to the gospel of TikTok, conservative women are a mix of tradwives, pronatalists, and wide-eyed aspirants to the princess treatment. But a very different ideal looks more like May Mailman, an over full-time working mother whom others on the right speak about with awe. At 37, Mailman is the deputy assistant to Donald Trump and his senior policy strategist at the White House. Pregnant with her third child, she flies home to Houston on Friday nights to spend the weekend with her family. Once, she gave a major interview 1 week postpartum, terrified she'd leak on camera. Her first child, not yet 3,
can I have some?
has already been on 14 flights. People say to me, when you're home, I hope you can really connect with your kids. And I'm like, you're crazy. When I'm home, I'm constantly attached to my phone, Mailman said in an interview.
Oh, good.
So, okay, it's good to know she's still getting some mothering in there and not just, sort of alienated from her 3 children. During the week, her nanny and her husband, David, who owns a tree moving company, get the kids out of
What else? That is like a caveman small business. We need move tree. Who own tree mover? Me move tree. Me make 3 shiny rock a year from move tree.
Mailman's husband, who owns a fire starting company. Quest for Fire Industries, LLC.
Mailman's husband, who's employed as the loudest shouter in his clan cave.
It says, during the week, her nanny and her husband, David, who owns a tree moving company, get the kids out of bed, change their diapers, bathe and feed them, and put them to bed while making sure to run the dishwasher. Yes, Mailman is missing out on much of her kids' early years, but she doesn't second guess or feel guilty about her choices. She feels lucky. I don't have a victimhood mentality, she said. You have to exert a certain locus of control and focus on the things you can handle without obsessing over what you can't. In theory, I would love to be a trad wife, Mailman said. When I wrote down qualities I wanted in a husband, one was to make more money than me because I wanted the freedom to stay home so that I wouldn't feel trapped. And that's who I married. Maybe conservative women don't feel as conflicted as progressive women because we structured our lives from the get-go so we could potentially do both. All the while structuring everyone else's lives, so that's impossible.
I love how she says victim mentality when the central question is it should be more like, hey, are you just like fucking around on your phone instead of raising your kids? No, that's not, like, feeling bad about that isn't a victim mentality. It's just a basic concept of shame, the thing you should have.
It says here, the much heralded and often disputed idea that women can have it all is often seen as a liberal ideal, while being a housewife, or as it's known now, a stay-at-home mother, is upheld as a conservative one. But while opinions on how the other side thinks can veer towards caricature on both ends of the political spectrum, real life is more complicated. For most women, whatever their politics, housewifery is a non-starter. Outside a wealthy elite, the two-income household is just economic reality. But another reality is that many women, conservatives and liberals alike, genuinely want a career, whether for their sense of self or their desire to contribute financially or as a way to pursue their passion. Conservative women tend to see their lives in a different light. In interviews with over a dozen high-powered conservative women, they said that the tradwife lifestyle was never a choice they seriously considered for themselves. No shit! Wow, that's fucking shocking. You don't want to be churning butter all day when you can be on TV? This past decade has seen the rise of many conservative women in high-profile jobs in government, the media, and corporate America. There's Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, former South Carolina Governor and Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley, and Senator Katie Britt of Alabama. All have high-pressure jobs while raising a family, despite having financial resources that gave them the option not to work.
Senator is a high-pressure job? John Fetterman does it. It's his second job ever.
Late last year, White House press secretary Carolyn Leavitt returned to work just 4 days after giving birth when Trump announced his candidacy. I would reject that you can't be a good mom and be good at your job, Leavitt said on a recent podcast. It's not for everyone, and it takes a lot of work and will and faith and prayer. And it's hard, but it can be done.
You're not doing it, though. Like, you're fucking on your tablet while your kid is sprinting into a wood chipper.
Carolyn Leavitt is one in particular because, like, she brought her kid to the White House, and, like, I saw a lot of conservative accounts promoting it and being like, finally, we're not demonizing motherhood. And there was another post that, like, it was Tim Tebow, and it was a recent photo he had of his infant, his newborn child, like, on his chest while he's, like, typing on the computer. And the comment was, finally, someone is humanizing fatherhood, like, and making it cool to have kids again. I'm like, at what point was motherhood or fatherhood not like demonized or like not humanized? Like, I don't get what they're talking about. And also, Felix, your brother made a very good point where it's like Tim Tebow's job is throwing a football, not being on computer. So it's really not that impressive. If he had the kid on the field with him, that'd be one thing.
I mean, a lot of his coaches probably wanted to resort to that by the end of his career.
And I like this article goes on for a long, long time. And I'm not going to read all of it, but it says here, conservative women are firm in their belief that childbearing is a big part of womanhood. To their mind, feminists, progressives, and contemporary gender theorists have de-emphasized, even denied sex differences in a way that don't reflect their lives or worldview. According to Carrie Lucas, president of the Independent Women's Forum, a conservative think tank and mother of 5, conservative women don't tend to wring their hands over how their roles differ from those of men. In lieu of the gender-neutral parent, they reflexively use the words mother and father. They believe that the maternal impulse fundamentally shapes women's priorities. But like the previous 10 paragraphs of this article were about these women who see their kids like twice a week for a few hours but while they're also on their phone catering to the whims of Donald Trump.
Yeah, they just sound like the lib career women they hate, but they're racist. So yeah. So just like through osmosis, their kids have a good childhood by absorbing like their like racism radiation.
Yeah. There is absolutely the only difference in the rhetoric between this and like girl boss, like corporate feminism is the word mother and father and like some vague stab at traditional gender roles. But like the traditional gender roles would require you not to be a senator or have a podcast or be on TV or be a fucking influencer or be pitching anything on TikTok without the approval of your husband.
Or, I mean, like, even then, like, even if you do have those jobs, not just like spending every waking moment on Candy Crush or like talking to a guy in Malaysia who's pretending to be Jennifer Aniston.
In the governor's office in Little Rock, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders recently implemented a Bring Your Baby to Work program that allows mothers and fathers to bring their kids to the office during their first 6 months. The goal is to help ease the transition back to work so that employees don't feel like they have to constantly choose between work and parenthood. State employees get 12 weeks of paid maternity leave. So the Bring Your Baby to Work program is basically a way to get out of giving people maternity leave. You just bring your infant to the office.
Didn't Arkansas just also like re-legalize child labor?
Yes, yeah, indeed they did. Indeed they did.
Great. Well, you can send your kids to the mines or take them to work. Either way, we're going to get those babies in the office.
I don't know much more about the conservative women having it all. I just find that they're like, now that they have like taken advantage of all of the opportunities that feminism or just like the women's rights movement have afforded women to be like full members of society and not only seen as mothers or caregivers or housewives. They want to take full advantage of that while also claiming that they are also like housewives and mothers and traditional. And it's just like, I don't know. I just like it's the hypocrisy of it is all a bit galling to me. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a mother. There's nothing wrong with working if you're a mother. In fact, most people don't really have the option, to only stay at home. But it just seems like it's just they want maximum like I don't know, thanks and gratitude from everyone for working all the time and not being around their kids, but also demanding other people, do differently. I just don't get what these women want. What do conservative women want? I guess is my question.
To have an article written about them.